Hey guys, good morning. Michael Clark with BAM Weather. I wanted to give you our latest long range forecast update thoughts here as we continue to progress in mid to late January. If you've watched these for a month now, probably we've talked about MJO concerns, timings, windows haven't been perfect. Regardless, it's cold, it's stormy right now. The thought process is, some moderation is coming, and then it could possibly go back into our favor, which is really what we've. It is snowing good out right now. It's a nice little snow band coming through, and very very cold. But really, what we've been talking about is these vortex split events and how they work. All right, the MJO is a concern, and I am going to go into that. A snowfall forecast here over the next 24 hours. I think you're a little underdone in here. A little clipper is going to come through. Possibly locally 1 to 2 inches of snow is not going to be out of the question throughout the day today and into this evening. Again, an impressive clipper system will come through the area. Check it out real quick. I mean, this is current temperatures. This is the actual air temperature. On Clarity, you can interrogate the map and click on it. And man, it is just absolutely bone-chilling cold. Northern Montana, actual air temperature minus 39 degrees. Down there in Miami, it's a crisp 79 degrees. Snowfall here over the last 3 days. We had a big snowstorm come through. Places here in eastern Nebraska over a foot, eastern Iowa, northern Illinois, and even eastern Wisconsin approaching 20 inches of snow. So a nice big snowstorm up there. Again, you can see how the snow really has kind of evaded the coastal regions here, just due to the overall nature of the pattern. Going forward, snowfall forecast next 7 days. Looks better for coastal regions, perhaps some snow. A nice southern slider here going to offer up some snow for Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania area as well. Okay, this is a look at temperatures in the 1 to 5. Okay, 1 to 5 day period. It's cold, no question. This is the polar vortex. It's the coldest air on the planet. And the 5 to 10, it's still cold as the air continues to kind of seep to the east. Watch what starts to happen though as we get into that 10 to 15 day period. A while back, this is a very warm forecast. A while back in late December, early January, I had said there was a very significant mid-January warm risk. I was really off by about 10 days on that. This is exactly what I was concerned with. The MJO going high amplitude 4, 5, 6, and that's exactly what's happening. There is a mild period coming. Okay, if we look at just the day 15 temperature departure, it's warm in the east out through the end of January for a time, okay? So just something to keep in mind here. When we look at I want to show you the evening HDD models, all models combined. You can see everything dipping below 10 and 30-year normals here by the 22nd. And it's probably a solid 7 to 10 days of milder air, below normal at least in terms of heating demand. The CFS here recently, it takes us out through the end of February almost, but here recently has started to indicate the shift can come back towards the colder air around the 2nd or 3rd of February and be more, a better supply of that. Not out of the question, given what I'm seeing here in this is the MJO forecast from the European model, because again, here's. You kind of think of this in numerical order, 1 to 8 across the equatorial Pacific. You start with 1, 8 here, and you go to 8 as you move across. That's my horrible handwriting on this mouse pad. But that's the evolution, that's the movement of the upward motion, the tropical convection across the Pacific. Okay, that's the European model. The Canadian ensemble is doing the same thing, a quick movement across the Pacific with the MJO. There is research that tells us a couple things. As this happens, all right, check it out right here. Slowly what starts to happen as the MJO progresses is we significantly will strengthen the polar vortex over the next 15 days, essentially. That's exactly what the modeling is doing, okay? But as we get into phases 5, 6, 7, and 8, as it goes into 7 and 8, the vortex will start to weaken, okay? The weakening of the vortex will be due to strengthening of the low pressure in the North Pacific, allowing upward wave propagation into the stratosphere during phases 6 and 1. The weakened vortex signal then propagates into the troposphere, causing persistent warm anomalies into the polar cap regions, which creates blocking, right? We're seeing this. We're seeing the MJO move. Okay, we've seen this for a while. As it gets into here, the vortex will strengthen. It'll go to the other side of the planet and it will get warm. But it tells me that there can be disruptions again mid to late February to the vortex, which then tells me we could have extended prolonged winter issues into March if the vortex can become disrupted and bothered again, like this would suggest. Okay, now here it is. This is the vortex right now, split overhead. It's here. We're dealing with it right now. That's the vortex from the split we talked about for quite a while. Then watch this. It strengthens, goes back into one piece onto the other side of the hemisphere. Fits the research, right? Well, as the MJO propagates, what starts to happen is we see the data start honing in on coming back with this North Pacific pattern that would be conducive or helpful to, once again, jab the vortex from the Pacific side. Okay? The low ramps up, which causes, where there's a low, there's a high. And so the low in the North Pacific would ramp up, shooting higher height and pressure anomalies into the upper levels of the higher latitudes, if you will, and then creating higher pressure or positive polar cap heights, aka blocking. Okay, that's why we're trying to start to see this again. All right, from the Arctic Oscillation, I believe it can start to go back towards negative. That's the EPS. There's the American Ensemble. It will come back. It will come back, I believe. All right. This is a look at the EPS weekly. Okay, so here is the vortex by week 2 on the other side of the planet. And then as we go into week 3, what starts to happen, we see the migration of that vortex come back down potentially into this side of the hemisphere, given the MJO forecast. All right. So there's indications that this is not a permanent change to warm. It's more of a reload. We could call it a reload. It is the MJO, but we can call it a reload. Here's what happens in phase 6. All right. Here's phase 7. And then eventually into phase 8, the trough comes back. And the European weeklies are hinting at this. They're hinting at the cold coming back. In fact, I can show you that, what the European weeklies are looking like in the higher with the heights. Okay, great product here, great representation here from our friends at Pivotal Weather. I'll show you the 500 millibar height anomaly. Again, there's week 2. Week 3, you see the Pacific blocking come back. You're starting to see the blocking across the top too. Week 4, you've got all your blocking in here with the trough underneath, and you probably have what this pattern would suggest is probably pretty stormy up and through here. All right, winter storms, and colder as well up and through here. The colder anomalies here and the stormy pattern there as well. That's been the colder February outlook thinking for some time. In fact, in order to prove that to you, I go back to Clarity and I can click on our long-range product tab. And for those of you that don't have Clarity or interested, you go to bamwx.com, you can get it. This was our outlook yesterday, our 16 to 30-day outlook that meteorologist Brett Waltz put out. You can see what I'm talking about, the below normal temperature forecast here and probably above normal heating demand. But then the precip pattern. The wintry precip would be a little north and west of this in the same areas that I drew. But also here's the February temperature outlook that was updated 17 days ago. All right. So that's nothing new. It hasn't been changed since November 29th. This is a long-standing call we've had for quite some time as well. And then our January 18th to 27th snowfall outlook, updated 4 days ago. I still like this. If anything, as we get further into February, this continues and we may pull it northwest a little bit, perhaps back into here. But regardless, that's your storm track going forward. So I think the cold can come back probably by the 2nd or 3rd of February. These dates are always up for debate and up for change. The current mild period coming is long advertised, well talked about. And It won't last. It's not a permanent thing, but it is coming. We'll keep you posted. Thanks for watching. Share it with a friend. Talk to you soon.